I knew the Indian Wells women's semifinals were going to be something, but they surprised me in ways I couldn't have imagined. From all the momentum shifts and melodrama in the first semifinal between Mirra and Iga and the absolute beatdown Sabalenka inflicted upon Keys, we got a lot to talk about. Hey, I'm Christian Bassnight and welcome to Christian's Court, where I cover tennis from all angles. If you have not yet already, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you are notified whenever I post my Indian Wells post-match finals thoughts for the women. Mirra Andreeva extended her win streak to 11 in a row with arguably her most impressive victory in the stretch after dethroning defending BNP Paribas Open champion Iga Swiatek 7-6, 1-6, 6-3 in the semifinals. Iga was on a 20-set win streak here and was looking for revenge after falling to Andreeva in that last 1000 in Dubai in the quarterfinals, and it was a 6-3, 6-3 win in favor of the 17-year-old. Iga looked in control, more in control compared to Andreeva in the early stages of this match, and she handled the win a little bit better than Mirra did in my opinion. And I think she had a little bit more earlier looks in Andreeva's service games, and I thought that Iga would break first, but Andreeva got through her tight service games thanks to her finding those first serves in, and she served her way out of trouble in the opening set a lot of times whenever her back was against the wall. Mirra actually was the one to break first at 4-all to serve for the opening set, but she was unsuccessful, and after she got broken back, I thought that Iga had the first set in the bag, especially when Swiatek went up 6-5, 30 love. But from that point on, Mirra stepped up and made the first serves in and came up with some clutch shot making, especially with those down the line winners. After getting out of that game, she completely stormed through the tiebreaker in the opening set, only dropping 1 point. The first serve, I think, was the most important thing for Mirra in that opening set. She won 88% of her points whenever she landed that first delivery in, and Iga had a lot of success whenever Andreeva hit a second serve. But again, when Andreeva made her first serve, she was kind of almost unbeatable in that opening set. I think Mirra honestly might have developed one of the best serves on tour in like the span of a month. It's insane. I'm just so surprised at how fast her serve has improved. And I think in the first set, she had a 126 mile per hour ace. And Mirra said that was probably the fastest of her career. Like that's scary. She's only 17 years old, and throughout her rise, Mirra never was one to have a big serve, but she's hitting serves in the 120s now, like a few times in this match. Like that's, again, the tour should be very afraid right now. In the second set, Iga became far more aggressive, and the win wasn't as much of a factor here, so she was able to step up and hit through her shots more. Mirra's energy level definitely dipped after she got broken right off the bat to start off the second set, and Andreeva was a little bit more error prone in this set as her ball started flying a little bit more. And when you combine that with Iga playing exceptionally well, it was just going to be a tough out for the 17-year-old. Iga finished the second set with 8 winners to 4 unforced errors, and she served a lot better, while Mirra struggled a lot on that front, only winning 46% of her first serve points in set number 2. And after dropping the second set, Mirra went off the court to kind of reset and put on a long sleeve shirt, and she definitely did reset for the deciding set. Now, in the first game of this third set, I think that was the second most important point of maybe the match, really. Iga had a few game points here, and Mirra was a little bit mentally on the edge, especially after dropping the second set so convincingly. But I think Andreeva being able to come out and scrape by with a break and then consolidating the hold soon after, that definitely got her back on track mentally. But I think the most important game was at 2-1 in the third set, and Andreeva, she was love 30 down on her serve against Iga, and she was able to battle through to get the clutch hold. And Iga, after dropping that game, she started getting a little bit more rattled. She complained to the umpire about, I think, Mirra maybe rushing her and Iga maybe not being ready because the ball kids were running around. I think that excuse was kind of not a good excuse. I think it was just mainly Iga just being mad that the match wasn't going her way. And then she also had a not so good outburst moment, which I'll talk about a little bit more later. And then Iga got broken that following game to go down a double break 4-1. However, she did break back and made this more of a match and brought it back to 4-3. Mirra did a great job of just scraping through that 4-3 game to hold on for 5-3, and she stayed solid. And meanwhile, Iga was a little bit error prone. She was missing shots. Wasn't missing too badly, just missing marginally, and that's really all Andreeva needed to seal the victory. This is going to be yet another tough loss for Iga. She has been struggling as she has not made a final on tour since winning Roland Garros last summer. And you could see her frustration out there. She let her coach Wim Fizette have it a couple of times, kind of fussing at him. And at one point, she slammed a ball in anger near the direction of a ball kid, which the crowd was not happy about at all. And they kind of booed her. This definitely was not a good look. And people were pretty critical of Iga online for this. Again, Iga was wrong, of course, but I feel like I'm low-key like a player apologist when it comes to these instances of players kind of showing frustration out on court, because I've played tennis at a pretty competitive level, and I know how the emotions can get to you. Tennis is a very tough sport to play, especially at that level that Iga's playing at too, and it's not easy to always maintain your composure. You're going to have outbursts sometimes. So personally, I am not mad at Iga. If you are, I'm not mad at you for being mad. I can't tell you how to feel, but I do feel like one tweet said it best. A mutual of mine, they said like a lot of people already up in arms just didn't like Iga to begin with, and 9 times out of 10, I feel if this was a fan's favorite player, they wouldn't be as pissed or even calling for a default as some fans were with Iga. Now that aside, it's got to be frustrating for Iga to have been playing so well for much of the tournaments, but then when you get to like the latter stage, namely the semifinals, she just cannot get over the hump. And I think we'd be talking about Iga differently if she had just converted that one match point against Madison Keys at the Australian Open, but she didn't, and here we are now. I don't think she's been playing bad at all this year. I think she's still been playing solid, but she doesn't have much to show for it because she doesn't have a title to her name this year. And I know she's going to be disappointed, especially with this loss, because Indian Wells is a place that she had been so successful. Of course, she was barely losing games in sets, and she lost again to someone she lost to just the last tournament. I wonder if this will have an impact on her mentally for the clay season, losing here at Indian Wells. But regardless, I just wonder how long she sticks with Wim, even if she does win Roland Garros. I think her main goal in working with Fizette was to try to win titles, big titles, at the non-clay tournaments, and it just has not happened yet. It's not like Swiatek has been losing early, though. She's gone pretty deep in all of her tournaments, and the year is still early. It's only March. But again, I think that if she does not win a non-Roland Garros slam this season, Fizette might get the boot by the year's end. Now on to Andreeva. Just what more to say? She continues to amaze me match after match after match, especially on this streak. And it's just such an incredible effort beating Iga in back-to-back tournaments. Not just Iga, but also Elena Rybakina too. She also beat Rybakina in Dubai and Indian Wells here. That was in the 4th round. And it's more impressive because Swiatek was playing so well, and she was really in her element at Indian Wells. And she's even tougher to beat when it's windier because she handles the windy conditions better than probably anyone on tour. But Mirra adjusts better than anyone else on tour. She is so smart. She has such a high tennis IQ. And unlike at Dubai, where she was able to draw Iga in with her slices and short shots, then pass her, she couldn't do this as much today due to the conditions. But she was able to still remain pretty solid and hung with Swiatek from the ground and just outlasted her and was just more consistent in the end. But like I mentioned earlier, the serve was really Andreeva's saving grace. I can't stress that enough. And it was a big weapon in enabling her to get free and easy points a lot of times. I was a little bit weary at first about joining the Mirra hype train even after she won Dubai, but that Rybakina 4th round win definitely had me sold. And I've said this over and over again, but Mirra's tennis IQ has always been high, but now that she has gotten both physically and mentally stronger, she's a true force. And she talked to Tennis Channel after the win about how she hired a sports psychologist during the Australian Open and how that's made a huge difference because she recovered so well after dropping the 2nd set, was able to still stay positive even in tight moments in the decider, and that's what made the difference. Sometimes before, this year, Andreeva would kind of get a little bit hard on herself and would go away a little bit mentally. And now she's not doing that. She's finding a way. And that can be attributed to both the psychologist and her coach, Conchita Martinez. I think Martinez has done an incredible job with Andreeva, just cheering her on every point of the way. And I also like how Andreeva reads in her notebook during the matches. Tennis Channel low-key was doing a little much with exposing Andreeva and zooming in on her pages so you could see, the different different opponents' names. You can see Swiatek, all the opponents that she has had to face this week. And I think that's something players really should do a little bit more. I feel like people will take a page out of Andreeva's book, no pun intended, and start doing that because it's smart. With this win over Iga, Andreeva moves up to a career high of number 8 in the world, and if she wins the whole tournament, she'll be at number 6. Now, in the final, she will face Aryna Sabalenka, who absolutely demolished Madison Keys by a score of 6-love, 6-1 in just 51 minutes. Aryna did say that she was very hungry for revenge leading up to this match. Of course, she lost to Keys at the Australian Open final earlier in the year, but I did not expect her to come out like this. There's really not much to say about the match. It was completely one-way traffic for Aryna. I will say the first 2 games of each set the tone for the match. They were crucial. As Maddie, she had a little bit of a small opening in the very first game of the match, and she had a break point in the first game of the second set, but wasn't able to convert. I think maybe if she was able to break early, she could have made this a little bit more of a match, because you never know how big that can be, but it was just constant pressure, and it clearly impacted Maddie mentally too, just not being able to get on the board earlier in these sets. I do think Aryna's quarterfinal match against Ludmila Samsonova helped her a lot, because she played that quarterfinal in very similar conditions. That match was kind of played later in the day, near the nighttime, and that helped a lot because Keys, she hadn't really played in these types of conditions before. All of her matches were during the day. She hadn't really dealt with the wind like it was today, and she struggled to really find her range. Lindsay Davenport said it best, but Sabalenka just found the better balance of playing both with the wind and against it, and Keys didn't find that balance at all in this match. Maddie did not make Sabalenka sweat much at all, and she gifted Big Lenka a lot of shots from airs, and she committed 18 unforced airs to Sabalenka's 10, and Maddie finished with 10 winners to Aryna's 14. Sabalenka said after the match on the win, she said, "I needed this revenge badly, so I was really focused, and I think I tactically played really great tennis." I would say that today was a bit opposite compared to the Australian Open final. I played great at the beginning, and she kind of lost her rhythm, and she couldn't play her best tennis. I think that's why the match went so fast. So in Australia, I played really bad, and she played great. It's not like I was really desperate. I was hungry, and as I said before, that Australian Open match was really heartbreaking for me, and I really needed some time to recover after that. And if I would lose today again, it would get in my head, and I didn't want that to happen. I was really focused, so I was just really hungry to get this win against Madison. These were great insights for Sabalenka, and like I said in my preview for this match, the revenge factor was going to be big, and it was really the biggest factor out there, to be honest, because mentally Sabalenka was on it from go, and she was not going to lose this match. I don't know though if I'd agree with Sabalenka in saying that she played really badly in that Australian Open final. It definitely wasn't her best, but I think some credit does have to be given to Maddie for making Sabalenka not play as good, but alas. I know Maddie will be disappointed with this performance, but still, there's so much to be proud about. A 16-match win streak is incredible for anyone, and she has a major title, won Adelaide right before she won Melbourne. She has so much to be proud about, and just making this run to the semifinals and Indian Wells shouldn't be understated as well. She beat some really quality opponents like Bencic and Vekic to get to the stage, so she should be very happy and very proud by what she's accomplished. Now, on the topic of revenge, Mirra is going to be looking to seek that over Sabalenka in this final. Mirra said in her press conference, "Yeah, the matches we played this year didn't really go my way. I can say she almost killed me, especially in Melbourne. I'm going to try to take a revenge because I still have nothing to lose, and I feel like the match is going to probably be entertaining. There's going to be a lot of, I think, winners, a lot of great points." So as you could tell from Mirra's statement, Sabalenka does kind of dominate the head-to-head. She leads it 4-1, and Andreeva's lone win came in the Roland Garros quarterfinal from last year. She won that in 3 sets, but I feel like a small asterisk needs to be put next to that win because Sabalenka was all out of sorts. She ate a bad steak. She later revealed, and she was dealing with stomach problems badly. I think that if Sabalenka was healthy, she would have won that match as well. Their most recent meeting was at the Australian Open this year in the 4th round, where Sabalenka only dropped 3 games in a 1-2 beatdown. And I think Aryna is one of the only players really, or has been one of the only players to completely take the racket out of Mirra's hands and just overpower her. And I watched most of that Australian Open match to prepare for this video, and I noticed that Andreeva's form looks completely different than compared to now. She just was definitely error prone, first of all. Didn't really pinch Sabalenka at all. Sabalenka completely overpowered her. And really, Mirra, the main thing I noticed was really Andreeva's exuding a lack of self-confidence. She didn't have that same moxie that she has now. But post AO, Mirra is just a different breed. She has a lot more confidence, which I think would be big for her in this match. But she also has a lot more weapons. She has a bigger serve, I think a bigger, more consistent serve, and she can hold her own in these baseline rallies against the bigger players, bigger hitters a little bit more, as shown through her wins over Iga, Rybakina, and Clara Towson. Also, the conditions here at Indian Wells are nowhere near as fast as in Melbourne, so that'll only aid Mirra even more. In order for Andreeva to have success in this match, she needs to serve well. It's imperative. Also, I think she needs to use a little bit more variety, kind of draw Sabalenka in a little bit more and pass her like she did against Iga and Dubai. And then also just kind of be more aggressive with her return, attack the Sabalenka second serve. It'll be a challenge because Sabalenka has been using her kick serve wonderfully well, especially seeing that the ball bounces higher up and out of opponent strike zones. So bottom line, Mirra needs to play, I think, better than she has in this entire stretch. So it'll be interesting to see how she does here. Now with Sabalenka, it's kind of simple. She just kind of needs to continue playing like how she did in her previous matches, just using her power to overcome Mirra. And one thing that Sabalenka does a great job against Andreeva too is that she senses when Andreeva's hurt and immediately comes to the net and finishes points out quickly. She needs to continue doing this here against Andreeva. Low key, I'm kind of nervous to make my predictions because I totally did a bad job for my semifinal predictions. I already know y'all are going to be on my head in the comments, but I mean, I got to do them anyways. I have bet against Mirra twice in a row now. She has proved me wrong. But Sabalenka, I just have a feeling. I have a feeling. And I had a feeling that Sabalenka would beat Keys, and I went against that feeling and instead went with logic, but I'm not going to do that here. I just have that feeling that it's going to be Sabalenka's time, and I think the matchup is important. Even though Mirra has improved a lot and is bound to test Sabalenka more than she has recently, I still think it'll be a tough ask for Andreeva to beat Sabalenka. I think it's going to be important, though, for Sabalenka to try to take this match in straight sets, because if Andreeva pushes it to 3, I think Mirra has been more battle-tested as of late to be able to handle the tight pressure moments compared to Sabalenka. She hasn't dropped a set all week, so I'm a little bit wary of how she'll deal with the tight pressure situation. So Sabalenka needs to try to win this in straight sets. I don't know if she will win in straight sets because I can have a feeling that she'll kind of falter at some point in the match and Andreeva will take advantage. But I'm still going to stick beside Sabalenka taking this one. So yeah, Sabalenka will be my winner for this match. That is all I have for my Indian Wells semifinal recap and my brief finals preview. Let me know in the comments what you thought about all the action today and whether you believe that Iga can recover in time for the clay season, and do you think that she needs to let go of Wim Fizette and maybe also her mental coach Daria Abramowitz, because I don't know if she's helping, to be honest. And then also let me know if you agree with me having Sabalenka take the title, or if you think that Mirra will go 2 for 2 and claim her second consecutive WTA 1000 title. Again, make sure y'all subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever I post my men's semifinal recap / final preview. I've kind of been neglecting the men, so I'm going to make sure I post that for y'all tomorrow. Thank you all so much for watching and for your support, and I'll see you all next time here on Christian's Court.